So let's show you the second part of the experiment since we did what we did. We took everything off, and what we now did is ran the battery, and you can see it's a splice here. It's two cords here, two cords here. Okay, so I know these cords are all messed up, but this is the battery terminals, just single by themselves. And then the second part of the cords are going back into the solar parts. So these split down here, these two cords and these two cords. Okay, so you have the negative and the positive two. And the two is, that's one from the battery, and two over here is the solar panels. So when you look at this reading here, you see that 11 volts are going in, and then you see the amperage, which is not even amps. It should have been more amps than that, but it's not. So then you see the battery being charged and where the battery is at. Okay, so it's saying about, it's more than a watt. You got about 2.9 watts, which is better than what the solar cells is. Okay, so now the battery is doing that. Okay, we just wanted to know that we can reroute that back into it, and that's what that looks like. That's what that reroute looks like. Okay, so now that we got that, we're now going to plug this in and start pumping energy into it, which should take this and lessen the power coming out of it, which is not plugged in yet. So let's see what we got. Okay, immediately this thing is back feeding into this, and that's okay. And it says 11.8 volts and 0 amps. So we got to raise it past that just to get this to move into that or be equal to that. Okay, so let's take a break and come back and see if we can get this up and going. Okay, we did our first tweak. As you see, we got 11.5 volts in, which, like I said, that reads with the battery. But we got 3 something amps. And when we had the battery not connected, or just connected by itself, then we didn't even have an amp coming from those batteries. So we have 1142, which we had higher, running the other test. But this one is going to be like the same test, but it's just running this number over here. Okay, so that's why it dropped. And then you got 11.5 going back into there, forcing that to do it. And then we start pumping in this number. See where it says 12 volts, and then amps, which is just a little bit higher than the good, to make sure it pushes. And we have this important number. Okay, that's coming from the grid. Okay, and this number was going into the grid. Okay, 47. So it looks like it's just about even. 47.4, and that one says 47.3.4, and drop down to 46. So yes, that is an important number because that's going into the grid. So that's one of the experiments that we're showing you with the solar, and how we can keep adding that and why we're doing it. So what happened is I'll do a bigger battery or attach another battery to this and then bring that up even higher. But I wanted to show you that that was possible, and some other little techniques. Okay, I wanted to explain this so people understand this. I am running this right here at the bare minimum. And this right here, if we looked at the other calculations, I'm supposed to be way higher than that. Reason why is that it at least takes 19 volts. So when this battery empties, it'll have enough energy to switch this over, or it'll just say discharge and this whole system will shut down. And I want to see this because if we are doing what we did the first test, if this never drops down and it just keeps recycling the battery, then this thing will be on by the morning. If it's not, then this thing will cut off and be off in the morning because that battery will drop too low. So that's one of the things we want to do on this test, is that we already know that we ran it for a day just on cycling, and it says it's charging, but if it's enough charge with that 3 amps and 11 volts to keep it cycling into the battery. Time 4:12 p.m. on the 28th of July. And we're down here coming out of the grid 44.5 watts, and this is putting back into the grid 45.3. Let's get a good look at that so we'll understand exactly what it is. This right here is taking 40.12 watts from this cord up to this, putting 12 volts, 2 amps, okay, and putting this right here, 45.3 watts, back into the grid. Okay, so we look at the rest of that. Now we got a full spectrum on all what's going on. All right, and yes, compared to this is still cycling up, taking a very long time. It's almost there, so let's see how that works.